podcast. Welcome to the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. Hi, I'm Bob Perfect, and I'm a functional fuck-up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. And today we are learning from Yola Plaatjie. Now, Yola is an actor. She is a radio presenter, although not currently practicing, but she's got that skill set. She is also now a director. She directed a film for the 48-hour film project called The Sound of Murder, which I wrote. So you'll know about that if you've been listening to the last two bonus episodes of the podcast. So yeah, we chat about the creative processes. We chat about her growing up in the Eastern Cape and in Rome for a bit, which was quite interesting. We chat about her character on Durban Gen and the differences between her and the character, because they are quite far apart. And yeah, we get into quite a lot of interesting stuff. Of course, I need to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by you, which means you can support it by going to patreon.com/almostperfect. With that out of the way, here comes the Almost Perfect Podcast with Yola Plaatjie. And then, we made a movie together this weekend, so you must be feeling pretty good about yourself. You were the director and actor in it.
It was amazing. Start there. You were brilliant. I was scriptwriter.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was my first directing of anything really when it comes to the film space, which is what I want to grow into, acting now, but like gradually growing into directing. So getting to do that for the 48-hour film was mind-blowing. The adrenaline rush is still in my veins. Like I was telling you earlier that I want to keep the ball rolling. I want to keep doing more films, directing, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I've even opened up some old scripts and like started like giving them some edits and being like, yeah, this can get made.
Mm.
Like things, like it is possible to make things. It's just sometimes it just feels so far away, you know? And that's why like I like this 48-hour film challenge, because I put it out on Instagram that like I wanted to join a team, and you're like, yo, well, I want to start a team.
I'm trying to start a team. Yeah. I'm happy I got to see that post. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We got a group of other friends to join us on the project, and it was crazy how we put all of that together in such a short space of time.
Yeah, and especially since like most of us hadn't worked together before. Like it was all just a ragtag crew from like, I knew some people that came, like you knew
a
some
bunch
people.
of creatives coming together and making magic, really. Yeah.
Yeah, it was also quite cool that it was like in some way like a bunch of couples together. Like
how crazy was that?
That was so crazy. Like, because it was Megan and Duncan, then it was Leo and Lolly, you and Yolanda, and then me and Paige. And so it was just like, and then obviously we had
other people.
We had 5 other people on the team, but like the majority of it, and like I think it actually helped a lot, because I think it helped keep tensions down, because we all had like someone to quickly go and talk to for a little bit, you know, and just be like...
It really helped. It really did help. Like you said, because it was the first time for all of us really working together. Tensions got high. The pressure was on. So having your partner there was a good one.
Although also I don't think tensions got that high.
No, just the pressure of time running out.
Yes.
But for a first-time team, I feel we handled it like champions.
Yeah. No.
We gave each other space to breathe. The listening was there, but sometimes the listener would not always be there. But we handled that. Would I work with the team again? 100%. Like tomorrow, even on the next project, you know? That's how great it was. Yeah. Room for growth. All of us.
But like I was saying, like I was impressed the whole time, because I was expecting way more arguments, way more fighting, way more, oh, fuck you, like, you know, because like I've done like lots of things in my time, like lots of professional things, festivals and fucking like, you know, lots of things. And anytime there's like time pressure and, you know, like
for sure
different egos and different vibes coming together for a thing, like that can create like real conflict. And I just think like there wasn't like anything that was like dastardly. It was actually just like everything made sense within, you know, like obviously you're going to have like some tension, but I thought we handled things really well as a team. And like And like you say, we gave each other space to do the things that we're each good at, which is what like I appreciated with it, was that, and also it gave us all a chance to step up beyond what we've done before.
Yeah. And the level of trust I feel was insane. I've never directed with you guys. I've never worked with you guys. But the minute I was there and I was just sharing the vision of the script and how I would see it going for the film was amazing. And just how quick everyone was just like, okay, let's try this. Okay, let's see how the angles are going to work. That was mind-blowing.
I also think the necessity helps, though.
Sorry?
The necessity of it helped, though, like, because we only had 48 hours. So it's like, you don't have time to, like, argue about things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked on sets where I've seen directors lose their minds on people, on the smallest thing, on the color of a shirt, on a little button even. So I was really calm, you guys.
In comparison.
I was really calm in comparison to what I've seen.
And how did you find the challenge of acting and directing at the same time?
That was intense for me. I think that was one of the most challenging parts of the weekend for me, directing and acting. Getting to zone into the character. I feel I didn't get that much time for it, but it was okay because I was focused on so many other things, but I pulled it off, which was great because at the end of the day, you need to be confident and you need to trust yourself and you know what it is you want to achieve and the outcome you want to see with it. So just like go with it,
That's also what I think happened this weekend for all of us was we all just trusted ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was like, when it was like to sit down and write, it was like, well, here we go. This is it. Like, there's no turning back now.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like, and I think it was the same for everyone where it was like, we've bitten off more than we can chew to a little degree.
Yeah.
But then we found out our mouths were actually bigger than we thought. So.
Yeah. It was exhilarating. That's the word.
Okay, so that was this weekend. Let's take it all the way back because you are an actor. How did you get into acting?
I got into acting in high school.
Okay,
actually.
Where did you go?
I went to Marymount International School, and then
I don't know. What's the vibe?
That's in Rome. I was fortunate enough to go start high school in Rome.
It's like the Lizzie McGuire movie, kind of. No.
Which one?
The one where she goes to Rome and she sings, but anyway.
But yeah, there's so many movies where girls go to Rome. But yeah. Anyway, I went to Marymount International School. That's where the passion for me was just like, yes, it is valid. You can do this. The support of the teachers in the drama department was insane. But before that, I used to do plays in primary school, Margate Primary, where I went.
So you're from down the coast?
I'm from the South Coast, yeah, but originally from the Eastern Cape, but grew up in the South. The South. I'm from the South. I'm from the South. And Sunday school, those Easter plays you would do, the Christmas plays.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And all of that. So it's always been around me. It's always been something I've been a part of. That's why I had no doubt, like even with following the passion of getting into it, with all the voices of the family saying, don't do it, do something else. I was just like, no, I'm set. This is exactly what I want to do.
So what was like just from the get-go, they were like, nah, you got to get a real degree or what?
Yeah, you need something to fall back on. This is not something that will sustain you. Artists don't make money. There's no money in the arts. How do you plan to have a stable future? And I'd be like, let me figure it out. Let me see how it goes, This is what I want to do. Also, I am quite a stubborn person. So when you tell me not to do something and I feel like it can happen and it will work, trust and believe that I will do it. I used to get into trouble a lot for that, even growing up.
But the journey there must have been times where you doubted things.
Yeah, especially when I wanted to study the arts and I didn't get that support from my family. That was insane.
Was this after you were in Rome?
Yeah, this is after Rome. This is now back in South Africa and after matric, because I matriculated here in Ikopo High. So when I then wanted to do it after matric, I didn't get that support. I had to pause for a bit and figure out what I'm going to do. So I had to get a job. Worst time of my life. But,
Yeah, jobs are terrible.
But also I grew a lot, you know, the time that I had to work and be independent and figure things out. I appreciate that time a lot, even though I was not happy in that space. What did
you do?
I worked for Celsi. I was a sales rep.
Oh Lord.
At Celsi. Yeah. So I had to smile every day, even when I don't feel like smiling. Had to meet the monthly target with selling stuff, and it was insane. Like, yeah. And you know, when you
don't know anything.
Do you understand?
I've done retail.
So that would be frustrating, you know, being in a space that is not even close to aligning to what you are passionate about, but you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you gotta put food on the table, you gotta live your life, you gotta save money, you gotta, like, if you want to...
trying to go back to school also,
exactly.
So you need to save up so you can make it happen for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so you saved up, you went to school?
Went to school.
Where'd you go?
I went here in Durban, Creative Arts College.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I stayed with the cousin while I was here. Great times. But also the scariest time, I guess I got to figure Durban out. I was always scared of Durban. Still a bit scared of Durban CBD, but...
Yeah, even me. I know there's, like, it's crazy because, like, I've grown up, like, cruising this Durban CBD, like, as a skater and, like, just as, like, someone who grew up on, like, on Umbila Road, like, you know, like, I've always been just on the outskirts of the city. So I'm, like, a city cat, but at the same time, yeah, there's like certain spaces where I just like
it would be the craziest things. And obviously I have dreadlocks, so there's always this thing of if you're walking in town, random people or like people cut dreadlocks off and they sell them. So that would freak me out.
Is that a real thing though?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't mean either. Like, it's a thing I've heard. Like,
I've always heard it around, but I
CBD stories.
Yeah, CBD stories. So things like that would always freak me out. But I made it, Joe. I made it out alive.
But Durban CBD is quite a fucking unique space, and especially if you're coming from like a small town.
Yeah. Like me.
Yeah, exactly. So what was that adjustment like? Although you'd been in Rome and stuff, so you'd seen that. But like Durban's got like a sketchiness to it that I assume Rome doesn't.
I'm grateful to be quite an easily adaptable person. Like in spaces, you can put me anywhere and I will figure myself out. I will seem like I belong there. Because I feel a lot, and within the environment, I get to understand and adapt to the culture and how things are happening here, and I'm able to maneuver my way around. It's not always the easiest, because sometimes you just miss home. You know, you miss what you know as normal, if there's anything as normal.
What is that like? What is that for you? What is normal? What is home? Or what was normal, I guess, because at this point, it's pretty far removed, right?
Yeah. At that point, it was just being positive, really, just like trusting yourself and also just like keeping in contact with the people that were closest to you. I would call my sister like all the time and tell her about my day and how freaked out I was about certain situations. But yeah, so both my sisters actually, because one is in the South Coast and one is in Johannesburg. So they were really my pillars. And also the cousin I stayed with. Yeah, she was amazing. I got mugged once.
I mean, of course.
I got mugged once, which was like the scariest thing. How
many times I'll be mugged?
Which was Durban. After that, I think it shifted me a lot also to just like thug it out. Because I thought I was okay. Like I thought, you know, these people will look at me and think I'm one of them. There's no way they could.
Yeah, no, you got to mug it the whole time. Like if you're walking in town, you got to...
Dude, even when you don't want to. So I thought I had that, but it happened anyway. But I laugh about it now, but it was a really sad one. It was a really sad moment.
Oh yeah, shit. No, I got mugged a bunch when I was younger. Like less so as an adult. And like, thankfully, yeah, it's a crazy situation. Like real life shit. You know, it really makes you like understand that. Yeah, you're not always safe. Like, you know, fuck. Like, it's fucking horrible. But what was it like? Yeah, growing up in the Eastern Cape.
Growing up in the Eastern Cape was wild, dog. Like. So from the time I was young, I remember before we got like the water systems, like taps close by, we used to go to the river, legit, like with buckets and everything, and used to walk up a hill. I used to enjoy that because I stayed in Mthatha at that time.
Okay.
So it was not a thing that we were doing in Mthatha, but like it was a thing you would do in Lusikisiki. So it would always be exciting.
Oh, I get that.
And then we moved to Margate around 2002. And obviously like we spent every Christmas in Lusikisiki and it's different. You know, you come from Lusikisiki is basically a village and here you are in like a town like Margate. So growing up in the Eastern Cape, I enjoyed it. playing in the Eastern Cape was fun as a kid. I always used to get hidings though, because we used to slide down the bank with
yes, with cardboard.
With cardboard or with zings, and then
your clothes.
My pants would tear all the time. My mom used to whip me all the time for that. Would that stop me? Hell no. I would still be there the next day.
It's too much fun.
I learned how to ride a bike in Lusikisiki. Well, not really. I attempted to learn how to ride a bike, and then the chain cut my leg, and then that was basically the last time I went on a bike. But that was an experience. It was an experience I'll never forget also, because how the bike rolled down was quite insane. Memories of Lusikisiki will always be fond for me, because that's what I know, that's home. I can go anywhere in the world, but Lusikisiki will always have that place in my heart that I want to go back home, because it means so much, because it's such a special place to me, for lack of a better word right now. Yeah, it's home.
And how often do you go back?
I spend every Christmas there, because work and lifestyle and just not having enough time to go in the year. But I try to go Easter holidays, so it's 2 times a year.
Okay.
It's 2 times a year.
Is your family religious at all?
My family is super religious.
Okay.
Grew up in an Anglican church going family. Everything is about God. That's what I know.
And for yourself?
I'm a spiritual person. Wouldn't say I'm religious.
Sure.
I learn from all religions, really. If it aligns with me, I connect with it, then I will live my life following that, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like that's what it's basically like, just to live in a postmodern society. Like there's so many influences, there's so many things, there's so many ideas. And it's also like once you start like reading and learning about all these different things, like from across cultures, from across time, you start seeing how much things cross over and like how many ideas are universal. And like, that becomes, I don't know, for me, it's like, like the more you know about it, the more you're like, that seems pretty legit. Whereas like, when it's just like
if it's like forced onto you and this is what you must believe and nothing else but this.
Yeah, and all of the dogma of like traditional certain religions, like Christianity especially.
100%.
Like, that, I mean, for me, I got over that shit. Like, and like, I don't consider myself even spiritual really, like, but
what would you say?
I don't know. I'm a philosophical cat. Like, I just like to think about the world and different ways to live, and I like engaging with different ideas and stuff like that. Yeah. But like, I don't think there's like another. Like, I think this is all just blind luck. Like, we're just experiencing this fucking crazy trip, and that's basically it. It's all just like chaos, and the experience that we have is unique and special and cool. Yeah. But like, I don't think there's anything like above it.
So do you believe in a higher power?
No, that's the thing. Like, I appreciate the idea of like the Tao, but like, I'm still don't connect with it really. Like, yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I appreciate the ideas. Like, I like the metaphors. I think that's the thing. I think there's a lot of things within spirituality that describe the human experience. Yeah. It's just in a certain way, like it's metaphorical, it's philosophical, and that's the thing. I think it crosses over with a lot of things that I like in storytelling and philosophy and things like that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, to me, it's like when the lights go out, like it's just, we are uniquely blessed to have evolved into this being that we are, that sees the world in the way it does and conceives of things the way it does and has language, and just like, it's so crazy. It's mind-blowing.
And you know what's crazy? I feel the exact same way, but I also believe in a higher power.
Sure.
So
no.
Yeah. So it's all on how you see it and what you believe in, and that's that. And people should be allowed to believe in whatever the fuck they want to believe in, and
that's my talk. Like, like I had been like that dickhead atheist, but that was more of a response to being in the church, and feeling like I was lied to about like God and stuff like that. And so it was like, I went on a rampage for a little bit, but through that, I've come back to just being like, you just do you, I'll do me, and we'll be cool.
There's nothing better than that. I think also when you get to that point, your life is so breezy and easy. You do you. I'll focus on myself, and yeah,
that's it. Just as long as you're not trying to fuck with other people, that's my only thing.
And you always like, don't fuck with other people and be kind.
Yeah, as much as possible. Like, I get that some people are going through some shit, so kindness isn't necessarily in their hearts at that point.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's just the thing about growing up. And yeah, so have you always had like clashes with your family? I can imagine.
Clashes in what? In
like philosophical, ideological, like, just because you want to be an artist, you don't necessarily follow things the same way they do.
For sure. There would be a bit of clashes here and there because I don't really do things by the book,
I've noticed.
So that would always frustrate, well, it still does in a way, frustrate my family. But that's just who I am, and that's just what having a resilient spirit is about, I guess. Like you are firm and honest about what you believe in and what you want, and that's that.
Does that just come naturally for you?
I think I get that from my mom. My mom was a bit badass. So I know for sure that I get that part of myself from her. And you find that sometimes my family would even agree on that. But yeah, definitely she gets that from her mom. That part of me. Yeah. So we would definitely get clashes. Quite opinionated individual.
Once again, I've noticed.
Coming from a closer family, you are limited as a young person, as a woman also, like there's so much you can say sometimes.
And also, as you were saying, as a young person, it's also that hierarchy. Like it's not just about...
For sure. Yeah. For sure. So yeah, I've definitely had clashes with my family.
But at the end of the day, is it all love, I guess? Like you guys all come back together at Christmas and like...
Yeah, always. Always. I think one thing my grandmother has instilled in our family is love. No matter what the other person is going through, no matter the disagreement, but you guys must always love each other. Fuck your differences. At the end of the day, you are family and family comes first. I mean, some of the things I don't always agree with, like my gran would say, but hey, it's always in the back of my mind that I know this is what she would want. So...
Yeah, I don't even know so much if my gran instilled that in me, but my mom definitely, like... It's just like, you do anything for family. Like as much as like my family, like, this last Christmas, there were definitely some interesting conversations like that happen. I mean, they often are because it's the only time me and a certain member of the family
come together
and we tend to disagree on literally fucking everything. So
look, man, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I also have a family member where I'm just like, from a distance, we're cool. You just don't need to be up in my space.
Yeah, but we'll come together when someone in the family needs something, and you put your differences aside.
Yeah, for sure, always. But keep your distance. I keep my distance, and we're good. Yeah.
And I assume your family started to maybe show you a little bit more love after you started on Durban Gen on ETV.
The hierarchy thing again. Level of respect shifts completely. It's like with black families, I've seen this a lot on Twitter, which made me say, it's not just, my family. The level of hierarchy, like if someone is employed and if someone is not employed, your opinion is not always... I
mean, that's white families too. Like, well, at least.
Oh, so it's with every.
Well,
family.
I know at least in the lower class areas, like growing up for me, like mixed with a lot of different families, and I had a friend's family that had about like 9 people in it, and some people employed and some people weren't, and the ones who weren't employed like ate last, like literally.
Yeah, so it's always that thing, and for me, obviously, in the arts, until you are in a big platform, you're basically not doing shit with your life until we can see you on TV or hear you on radio every day. You're basically just like a loser winging life.
But how did you feel before that then, leading up to this? What were you doing before Durban Gen?
Before Durban Gen, I was doing films, which I still am. I shot a film, Dreams of Gomorrah 2019.
Oh, cool.
So I think that was my break into the space, even though it was like during COVID, because we shot Dreams of Gomorrah, it came out and then COVID happened. And then it was just like dead for all of us. So 2019, I would say was the year for me to step into the space. Even though I had been trying, I did Did radio DUT, did a couple of radio community radio stations, Radio Sunny South, Ikora FM, like a lot of other radio stations.
Why'd you do that? Were you passionate about radio? Or did you see,
I mean, I am. I'm. It's on pause for now, but it's definitely something
Wow, because I fucking hate South African radio. Like, I did it for like DYR for years, and it's just like, I like DYR because we had some freedom, but like, South African radio can be so just color by numbers a lot of time, and like, it's still, they're having the same conversations from like fucking the last 20 fucking years.
That's why we have podcasts now.
Exactly. So, but yeah, what is it about radio that you enjoy?
Look, man, growing up, radio used to keep us together. Going back to Lusigi Sigi, my gran used to have a stereo by her bedside all the time. Before we sleep, we'd always listen to something. It would always keep us together. We would always laugh about things, listening to radio. They used to have radio dramas that we would come together and listen. So for me, radio was a big part of my childhood. We would also, with cousins, we would also act out our own stories, for my gran, because of radio, because of listening to radio drama.
So it almost started your acting career in a weird way.
In a weird way, right? Yeah. I always used to find the Xhosa radio broadcasters like so funny now that I'm older. And I would listen back how they would talk and how they change their voices on radio, which I used to find so insane, because you don't really need to change your voice for radio. You either have it or you don't. But anyway, radio will never die. Also, radio will always be a thing that's there, keeping people together, always giving out information and always being informative wherever you are. I love radio. I love radio.
So you did that for a few years, and then the acting side of things, you were studying it. So
yeah, so I did Dreams of Gomorrah. That was on Showmax. And then, for close proximity, I did for the KZN Film Commission.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We shot that here in Durban as well.
I mean, are you finding it's a good time to be in Durban for these sorts of things?
Yes, especially for film.
Yeah.
Durban is a beautiful space to shoot. We've got rad locations. People are slowly catching on to it, especially filmmakers in Johannesburg. They've been doing a lot of work this side.
There's also been like a scene building here, like more and more people I know, like, because a lot of people I know left and moved to Cape Town and moved to Joburg to pursue their careers. And now there are many that are actually literally making their careers, making films here in Durban.
Here in Durban. So Durban is really a beautiful space. However, the space is moving quite slow.
Sure.
But,
that's Durban. Come on.
But I mean, the people that are here, we are here and we are making it happen for ourselves, and we're doing what we can with the resources that we have, and we just need to take more advantage of that. And yeah.
And then the Durban Gen thing, how did you get it? I assume you went for an audition, or what was the process like for that?
So the Durban Gen thing, I was last year, I think, sometime in June. I auditioned for it. I got the script June 16, and I had to send it.
Interesting day to get a script.
Right.
So at least you'll always remember it as well.
I remember I got the script. No, sorry, I got the script June 15. I only saw the email June 16 because I was down in the South Coast spending time with family. And I realized, shit, they want this in by tonight, June 16th. So I spent the day with the family. It was a family day out, and it was with my sisters and the kids, and it was great. And then I got home. On our way home, I then realized, shit, I need to do an audition. Wow, I'm so tired. I've literally been playing the whole day. But both my sisters were there, so I asked Tia, my younger sister, to help me with the audition because
Tia, she's great.
Oh, yay, we love Tia. So I asked her, girl, you need to help me with this audition. It needs to be sent before midnight. We worked on it, and I sent it through, and I got a call back the following week.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I was like, woof, okay.
So I got the thing, but now, okay, let's discuss it. You get the call back. How are you feeling?
I get the call back. Oh, first, I get the 031 number. So I'm like, okay, I am waiting for a job in Durban.
So like, is this a scam or?
That's where my mind was going. I hope this is it. I hope this is not one of those scams. I answer, and yes, fortunately, it was Durban Gen people. And they're like, hi, we liked your video. We would like for you to do another tape. We would like you to speak more Xhosa. on this video, and I was like, okay, sure, say less. I'm here for it. Did that, sent it through. They called me the next day to tell me that I got the job, and I was like, what?
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. So I got the job, but I was like super chilled. I'm whiling now, but over the phone, I was super chilled. I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you very much. Hung up and I lost it. Lost my shit. I was screaming like a mad chicken. I was manifesting the gig, I won't lie. I saw Durban Gen the first season. I was like, happening in Durban. Cool. I was like, I would love to be a part of this. I'd really like to be a part of this show. So I would say I manifested my role on Durban Gen from their first season. It's like, I want to be a part of that.
And you made it happen. And then your character is a doctor, right?
Yes.
And I see that you're going through some hard times at the moment, or at least you're going through some tests, or what's happening there?
Yeah, no. So I play the character of Nangamso Jack. Okay. She started on the show as a first-year intern, but we've fast-forwarded to 5 years later. Now she's a senior doctor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so now she's going through the difficult times you're talking about. So the storyline currently is that Nangamso Jack is trying to have a baby with her fiance, Calvin, but that's not happening because she's got pelvic inflammatory disease.
Okay.
So basically she can't hold a baby to full term. Okay. After a couple of weeks, she has a miscarriage because of a scarring in her womb. So that's what she's going through currently. And the shitty part is that the guy she's engaged with, one of their main things, like when they were still dating, was they want to have a family, they want to have kids.
Because that is a big, I like the storyline because it seems to be a thing that addresses real issues.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be a thing that does happen in society. It's
100%.
Especially in patriarchal society, where men are very determined to pass on their genes.
Yes. And for him, that's one of the main things. I want to leave an heir. I want to, legacy.
Pass on the name.
For sure. So she is going through that stress of, I've always known he wants to have kids, and now we're here 5 years later. I can't have children with him. So that's what they're currently going through, and they're going through the tests to find out what other options they have to try having babies. So it's a really tough time for Calvin and Jack currently. And
how's the relationship been up until this point? Has he been pretty cool, or have things been rocky before?
He's been pretty amazing. I mean, they started off quite sketchy. They started off in a throuple situation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but Jack was quite determined on the boy is hers, and she got her man, and the relationship was quite smooth leading up to now.
Then what's it like playing this character who's obviously, evolving as time goes on? So you're embodying two lives essentially. You're living your life, and then at the same time, what is your approach to acting, I guess? Are you doing the whole method acting thing where you're I am this character, or are you playing the character as this is what I would do if I was in that situation?
Well, for me, it always depends on what the scene is about.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not easy to just play it in this is how I would handle it. Sometimes you really need to allow the character to lead you sometime in some moments. I think also just spending time and understanding the character and really caring about what the character feels, and also putting yourself in the character's shoes. If you had to deal with the situation, that's where it comes in. But also how I deal with emotions and how Nangamso Jack deals with emotions is quite different. Yeah. So yeah, it depends. It depends on the scenes. It depends on the block and what we're working on currently. Because sometimes I enjoy spending time with it, just going over it, thinking how I would play it, writing it down, and sometimes meditating over it. Yeah,
cool.
with the scenes that are playing now, I really had to dig deep. Here's this lady who has always wanted to have kids with a guy that she's in love with, and she wants to be a mother, Yola does not want to be a mother. Like it's not a thing that,
I
oh
was
my
going to ask,
God.
because we've chatted a bit about this.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I need to have kids. I no, but I'm playing a character that would do anything to have children. That's where one of the differences are with my character. Also just the normal hetero lifestyle. Yola is not really my thing, you know, like I'm a free bird. I live my life the way I want to live my life, you know? So it's all those factors that come into understanding your character and having to create your own background of the character from what you are given in the character bio. You kind of have to create your own world with the information given.
And do you find like most scripts are still for straight women typically?
Yes.
And how do you find navigating that system?
We grew up watching hetero narrative in everything. It's okay. I have nothing against it. I just feel it's time now we tell stories differently. It's time we show love in a different way. It's time we show families in a different narrative than just a mom and a dad. It could be two dads, two moms.
One mom.
You know, one mom, one dad.
Yeah.
And that's
one gran.
that's absolutely normal. Those are the stories I feel now we should be telling. Because here we are growing up watching the narrative of mom and a dad in a home. Most of us didn't even have that in our homes, you know? No, so it was like bullshit that they were showing us on TV. But like our homes, that's not our truth. So why don't we tell those stories?
I'm fully with you, because just like, you know, from someone who grew up with a single mom who worked 2 jobs and that, like, whenever you would see like a divorced parent on TV, it would be so relatable. Like you saw like a kid growing up.
And they'd
like,
always look so sick and miserable.
But, but to be honest,
which was crazy.
So did my mom, like, because that's a hard life. Like being a single parent ain't easy.
For sure. But like my thing is, why don't we see them in a different light?
Of course. Why can't we see the joy? Like,
the joy of being a single parent. Yeah, it's not easy, because I was a kid once and I know I was freaking insane for my mom, and my mom was also a single parent, you know, and seeing where I am and what she had to do and the hard work she had to put in for my future and my education, bro. It's a lot.
I'm with you. I literally wouldn't be here without my mom. Right. So like,
yeah. So it's those stories that I want to tell. I want to tell queer stories. I want to tell different narratives of families and yeah.
Because it is like, you know, representation matters. Like it is a thing of like, but it's also...
Representation is very important.
Like it's a thing that gets repeated, but it's also so that people can, see themselves reflected. Like if you grow up with 2 moms and 2 dads, which is a thing that happens a lot more these days. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you want media as a kid that reflects that as well. Like, you don't like the reason why, and also it's important for other kids to see that media, because the reason why you might get picked on at school is because the only thing people ever fucking seen on TV is heteronormative couples. Exactly. So it's like, this is what's normal. And it's like, no, that's just what the media's like told you is normal.
100%. What is normal? Is it normal?
Literally no such thing. It's forever adapting according to the times. Like,
but yeah, I want to tell those stories in the film space and the TV space.
So how do you do that?
Getting a group of creatives together, brainstorming a bunch of ideas, and making magic happen. That's how I plan to do it. Like
So is this like weekend, like step 1 in your like plans take over the film world?
100%.
Like, are you writing? Do you write at all, or is that not in your?
I don't write. I'd be lying. I don't write like at all. I jot down.
So you take ideas and like...
Yeah, like I write down ideas. I journal, but I wouldn't say I'm writing, like script writing. No.
Sure. I was just checking because
I'd like to learn though. I'd like to get into that and just be comfortable with writing. However, I feel I struggle mostly with the dialogue of the characters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to get into learning and being comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I'm lucky in that I do feel that comes fairly naturally to me, which is like, I think it just comes from watching like a ton of fucking films. And it's also like, it's funny because the other night I watched The Art of Getting By, and like I told Paige about it, and like she hasn't seen it, so I was like, it's one of my favorite films. Like, you know, and just love the characters, love the vibe. And she was like, let me guess, there's a lot of talking in it. And I was like, yep. Because that's the thing, like, I've just grown up watching films with like great dialogue. Like, so yeah, like I always try and like emulate, because that's the thing, I don't give a fuck about natural dialogue, because natural dialogue does not exist. So like I just try to create like interesting dialogue and fun stuff and things that move the story forward without being too on the fucking nose sometimes. Although this weekend stuff had to be a little on the nose, because you only had 7 minutes to tell the story and 48 hours to do it in.
That was insane, you guys. Sure. We're doing it again next year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm even thinking about like seeing, like I went and checked the Joburg website to see when they're opening up.
No.
And like the dates aren't there yet, but I'm definitely gonna like try and be up there for the weekend and see if any. Yeah, because I got lots of people up there who create things and like.
Oh yeah.
Who might be.
You do have a lot of connects that side.
Yeah, at this point, like I feel like I've got connects all over the country, but like I'm also, like a 35-year-old guy who's been in the media industry and the fucking scene. Like I've done so many different things, so it's just like, and what's been cool as well, I guess, is seeing people evolve over the years. Like I was saying, like with the film thing in Durban, it's so cool seeing my friends who like, you know, I used to do cocaine in the bathroom with at the Winston. Now like actually making something of their lives, you know.
I know, that's dope.
Do you have any people from your creative arts classes and that you work with? Like, are there any people that you see on set now that like you got a history with?
I've bumped into a few people on set that I've worked with in other productions here in Durban.
Oh, sure. Because Durban's a small city.
Yeah, it's like super small actually. So I have this friend Peter, we used to go to Itlopo High together. He's doing amazing on social media. He does video reels, like funny skits on Instagram. Yeah, I'm super proud of him.
Second, how do you feel about the social media game then, I guess? Because like you're not much of an influencer, really.
Look, man, I'm struggling with social media. I'm not big on social media. Like I post when I can. I try to keep up with the socials, but I'm not a crazy active person. I wouldn't say like I'm influencer vibe.
And do you have any like philosophies around it? Do you think like you're feeling like, are you leaving anything on the table here when it comes to money or anything like that? Are there any concerns like that? Because like I imagine being an actor at this time, like that's a thing that must be in the back of your mind, like, oh fuck, I've got to have numbers because they want people to have numbers so that they bring people to the show.
100%. And with the whole getting like endorsements and sponsorships from stuff, you need a number of followers for them to even be interested in you. But I'm really trying to not let that pressurize me like into being like a social butterfly, especially like on your Instagrams and your TikToks and all of that. Also, I'm the person who loves being in the moment. Like what's happening in front of me is enough. Like I'm taking it in. I'm in this space and I'm quite content. And if you're lucky enough to see it on my socials, hey, good for you.
You're blessed.
For sure. But yeah, I'm not crazy on social media. I'm fairly active.
And then like in terms of getting jobs in Durban, then what's that process like? Because obviously, you know, people aren't necessarily calling you because you've got like 100,000 followers.
I follow up on the things I'm interested in a lot. Like with my social media, it's mostly pages that I learn from. I know that, okay, this is probably this is a production company. They would post if they are having casting calls.
Okay. That's a smart use of it.
Yeah, like those are the type of pages I follow on my social media. Yeah, people I kind of like. But I've met like a few people I used to admire before I got into the space, and then I got to meet them face to face, and I was like, oh, you're actually a shit human. Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So it's also those things that have come to light for me with social media, and just like how people lose themselves with the social media platforms, man. Like, but hey, we all use it for our own benefits and for what it's good for.
Yeah, it's a thing I've struggled with over the years, and like especially this year, like I took like a big break from Instagram. Like I thought I was done with it.
Yeah.
And like it's funny, like I was just spending time with other comedians and that, and realizing like this is just a fucking tool, man. Like it's just a marketing tool. Like, it's just a way to, like, yeah, let people know about the cool vibes you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's it. And also to connect and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we've got like free promo, like, you know, which is like really dope. I mean, that's the thing. I know about the shit you do because of Instagram.
Media,
yeah. So it does have its benefits. I do just hate the insecurities that like it breeds in you, and like just the fucking interfaces and the way like it's made to like be addictive and all of that shit. But
And I think also spending time with people that are, or rather what you call influencers, and knowing them
so vapid.
and knowing them away from the platform. It's crazy. It's like you're a completely different person on the platform, but away from the platform, you actually like
cool or not cool. I don't know where you're going with
like
that. Because I guess it depends on
you
the
really
person.
going through the most, but like you're showing this happy person, or you have this facade, but you're actually a really dope person when you're just being yourself and you're not doing it for the numbers and the likes and all of that.
Yeah, there's a number of people who like I've hated online. And then like, you know, I'll be in Joburg and like I'll be out with some people and then those people know the person and like we're all out together and I'm like, okay, hey, and then we have tequilas and like we have conversations and they're like the raddest fucking person.
Coolest
and I'm like,
people,
why are you not like this on the internet? But then like people say that about me, so like I can't like really complain too much because people like, well, especially back in the day, I just used to be very angry on the internet, like and just
really,
yeah.
I'm glad I met you when you were less angry.
I'm so glad. Like, yeah, I'm happy with like this is definitely the best version of Bob. So like, you know,
I love that. I like this version of Bob. I'm glad I met this version of Bob.
Most people I've found are liking this version a bit more.
How are you feeling though with this new Bob?
Oh, I dig it. Like I feel just way more comfortable and confident, and yeah, I'm not performing as much for other people. I'm not like acting out, and I'm not like letting my ego drive me as much, and just just trying to let other people be people, and like not like every slat against me isn't, you know, like you know, now I've got to have like a lifelong fucking rival, you know, like during COVID, I really got over like a lot of that shit. Like, and it was just like, cause it, like, yeah, my friends fucking died. Like, I lived with my whilst my grandfather died, and like, it was just like all like really heavy shit. And it was just like, I could carry on like fucking getting caught up in dumb shit that just really doesn't matter. Or I can just focus on the things that make me happy and like try and be a good person and try not to like fuck up anyone else's vibe like as best I can. And that's kind of my that's my life philosophy at the moment. Like just try not to let my ego
just don't be a
like get in the way. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because I do like, you know, I do know that like a lot of my 20s was, you know, a response to my fucking teen years and like growing up, you know, poor and ostracized and bullied and like all of that. So, you know, that takes a little while to get over.
It does. It does. I think COVID really shone that light for me also, and just like spending time with myself and reevaluating and taking a pause. Before COVID happened, I was slowly getting into a bit of a funk because I wasn't getting, I think I just finished shooting Close Proximity, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was Dreams of Gomorrah. And I was like, okay, this is done. I obviously need more work. What's going to happen now? And I was really getting stressed, you know, like most other artists were. And then COVID happened and it was like, boom, the whole world is on standstill. So what now? And that's where the whole reevaluating of self and the journey to self began, and just like focusing on what Yola wants and being true to what Yola wants, and taking each day as it comes to align to your higher purpose, I guess, whatever that was. And I'm still figuring that out, but I've been enjoying the journey because it's been good for me. It's been good for my interactions with other people and my mental health also.
Which is a crazy thing to say, that like, you know, lockdown and pandemic like helped your mental health.
No,
but,
it like no, like it,
I mean,
it really at that time other people were going through it. For me, it was helping me to just like pause and know that it's okay and that you just need to get through this period not knowing what's going to happen, whether you're going to die or not. But that was not my focus because I was just like trying to keep it positive the whole time, you know. But
I definitely didn't keep it positive the whole time.
oh no, I really, really tried to keep it positive. Also, my aunt was in Spain that time, and she would call and tell us about everything that was happening that side before it came to South Africa. So it was like insane, like shit, this is what's happening in the world. Okay, Lord, what's happening? Is this coming to the country? And yeah, it did.
Yeah, for me, like it helped in a way, like it gave me like a so I've experienced ego death a few times in my life, mostly because of hallucinogenics. But like COVID really made me go, you are insignificant and small and tiny and just at the mercy of the waves, you know, like you're just a tiny little ship floating and like whatever happens, happens. You've got no real control of anything. Like, you know.
That too, that was also a big thing. You have no control of everything.
Yeah, like anything can happen at any time. Like even last night when the substation exploded and like the hot wind started and I was just like, is this the apocalypse? Like,
how crazy was that? Are we dying?
I mean,
we were laughing about that at work actually, and they were saying there were aliens. Alien ship landed last night. That
was it. Like when I saw the photos and everything like that, it very much looked like that. It very much looked like very hectic. Like I feel sorry for anyone who lived nearby there. And like, but the crazy thing was,
do you know if any people died or any people got affected?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think if anyone was working there, they definitely would have suffered some injuries at least. Like that was huge. I mean, you know, we're seen fucking from kilometers away. Like it was huge. Like it was.
Yeah. I saw a picture, but sure.
It was like some Dragon Ball Z fucking like powering up shit. Like, yeah, like that's also the hard part, I guess, is like staying posy through just living in South Africa at this time. But we don't have to get into it.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you one last question. That was a question we ask all the guests on this podcast. Well, not all of them. All the new ones since I started doing this question. Since the rebrand. Since I was like, I need a hook. You know?
Okay.
Like, the question is, what is a big mistake that you've learned an important lesson from?
Sometimes you really need to listen to your elders.
Oh, Lordy, that is definitely true.
Yeah.
Although only sometimes.
Sometimes you really need to listen to them.
Because they've been through it.
They've been through it. They know better. And it's not always about holding you back. It's just sometimes wanting to show you things in a different perspective. Yeah. Listen to your elders, kids. Sometimes. Yeah, because I definitely have the issue with like, you know, older people always thinking they know better. Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't. No, for sure. I know that. Sometimes they don't.
But I'm with you. I always used to take the approach of like, they don't know shit. But like, I've always just taken that approach, like in general. Like, nobody else knows fucking anything. Like, you don't know shit if you're older than me. You don't know shit if you're younger than me. You just don't know shit. Like, that was me as like a fucking teen and 20-something. And I've definitely learned now, like, you know, a lot of the smartest people are already dead. So you might as well, like, you know, listen to people who've come before you.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I feel also I wouldn't always listen much. Like, I've noticed that, like, even in my adult life, like, sometimes I would always just be, like, talking and not always listening to what the other person is saying or what everyone else is saying and just, like, you know. So listening is very important.
Cool. Well, that brings us to the end there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, this is the second thing we've created together in a week.
So in a week, dog.
I'm excited to see what more we create as time goes on.
I'm really excited about what the future holds. We are going to create amazing stuff. I have no doubt about that.
Sweet. So yeah, that was Yola. And I had a great chat there. I had a great time making the sound of murder with her. So, and the whole team was really such a cool fucking experience. Unfortunately, I'm going to be missing the screening, which is happening at Ster-Kenny called Gateway this Saturday. I think around 3:30. I think we're Group C. So if you want to go check it out, just go on the internet and put those words in, and you should be able to find tickets. But yeah, I'm up in Joburg at the moment. A little surprise trip Also, I'm going to keep this short because I'm editing on my laptop, which means everything takes much longer. And so you're probably already hearing this quite late. But yeah, my mom called me the other day. Her dog is very sick and she was thinking that she needed to put the dog down, and she wanted my support, like emotional, and also to be able to drive her and help with that sort of stuff, because she didn't feel she would be emotionally able to do that. And so yeah, I came up here because, like mentioned in this podcast, family comes first. But now the dog's getting better, so it's cool. It's obviously the best possible vibe, and hopefully the dog continues to get better and we can avoid it having a slightly premature death. But obviously the thing is, it's got a condition with its eyes that it's very painful apparently, and very, the dog's been blind for a while now, but that's not a big issue. She still goes outside and lives her life, she still barks at the moon, and has a pretty, my mom spoils her animals, so has a good life. But yeah, it was in quite a bit of pain, looked like things weren't going to work out, and that the best choice would be to put Zoe down. But Zoe seems to be getting better, and so it looks like I just came up to visit the fam, which was rad, I'm pretty other than having to work off this fucking laptop, which is super old at this point, and hey man, whatever, it's cool. I can still do these things when I'm traveling, which is rad. And yeah, I get to spend time with my gran. I gave her another book by Arundhati Roy, The Ministry of Uttermost Happiness, because when I was reading The God of Small Things, we were living together, and she read it after me and she really loved it. So when I saw The Ministry of Uttermost Happiness at, the Botanic Gardens, I picked it up from those Dennis Hurley shelter sellers. So if you ever check those guys, they're really rad. They're very much well worth supporting. And yeah, she's really been digging the book. She's been loving that. So that's cool. Stoked got to do that. And yeah, just spending time with the fam. I might go do some open mic gigs early next week somewhere in Joburg. I'm not too sure yet, because I am performing at Dropkick Murphy's on Wednesday the 28th. And I'm actually pretty excited about that. It's with Jem Atkins and Mangaliso Mhlongo. So that is a strong fucking lineup, and you're going to have a good time. You can find the details to that on my social media somewhere. Cool, that's it. That's all I think I need to tell you. So it's time to give the shout out to the titular titles tier over at patreon.com/almost perfect. Now this is a tier, it's a $10 tier, and it's the top tier over at patreon.com/almost perfect. So shout out to Rousseau, who is the subtle clerk of subtle, no, not the subtle clerk, the storage clerk of subtle heresies in the Lesser Overberg region. Russell Grant, the Far East correspondent. Neil Green, our key grip. Kron Slemon, the almost perfect hedge fund manager. Kashendra Naidu, the spiritual advisor. Riz Ventura, our director of purchasing. Julian, our king. Karan Chetty, the assistant to the regional manager. Kath Jenkin, the inevitable ruler of the universe, and Queen Swifty, who must be pretty happy today. Shout outs to our executive producer, Stephen Olivier, our benefactor who be anonymous, to you for listening all the way through to the end, and a big thank you to Damien Ruitt for the bed music and the banging intro that you hear each and every single week. With all that said, I will catch you on the flip side.